from the Crypt.
Hello, boys and ghouls. Welcome to episode 99 of Dads from the Crypt, Tales from the Crypt podcast. My name is Jason. I'm joined by Mando.
Hello.
Hello. Jody's out tonight, but we have a couple great friends from our Slack, the Bliggin Horror Slack. First off is Alyssa. Welcome back.
The Rancid bitch is back.
Woo!
Rancid. Oh, that's right. Rancid bitch. You named yourself.
That was from the Halloween's Ends episode, correct?
Yeah, it sure was. Because I
Excellent.
was the aunt, and then Whitney took my title.
Oh, okay, so you had to become the Rancid Ant.
First of all, you can have multiple ants. You can have
That's
ant
true.
belly.
Yeah. All right, and then our first time on the pod, we have Levi.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, welcome. All right.
Thank you.
So, Alyssa, since you've been here, you've started your own podcast. Tell us about that.
I have started my own podcast. I finally, this was years in the thinking, not in the making. But my friend Courtney and I started a show called The Silver Scream, where we are watching every werewolf movie that we can get our hands on. There are unfortunately some that are inaccessible, but we're going to see what the dark reaches of the internet have for us.
Well, you have to wait for the full moon to watch them.
That's true. I should try that next time.
That would be a gimmick if you could only watch the movie on the full moon.
Wait,
That would be a really long podcast turnaround.
did you mention the name of your podcast?
I did.
Okay, I'm sorry.
It's okay. I'll
I'm
say
not
it again, though.
So,
I'm not-
yeah, say it again.
The Silver Scream. Like,
Repetition is key. Just keep just dropping that name in here. And
The
people
Silver
can be
Scream.
People can
Oh,
be
my
waking up at-
podcast, The Silver Scream?
People wake up
Yes.
at 3 a.m. being like, I have this urge to listen to this podcast called The Silver Screen. Where can we find your podcast, Alyssa?
Literally anywhere, except for some reason when you search on Apple Podcasts, it just doesn't want to come up, but that's fine because nobody fucking should use Apple Podcasts anyway.
Okay, so here's what I'm going to tell you is I can listen to it on Spotify, which I do, but I cannot find it on Downcast, which is my favorite podcast app, and it bothers me.
Okay, I will
not-
figure out how to fix that.
It is not your fault, but I want to know. I want more people to be able to listen to it, and be able to find it,
Yeah.
because it comes up as some podcast hasn't updated itself in 2019, and it's definitely not as cool as your podcast because you're you and they're not you. So I just
Thank
know
you.
I'm not going to enjoy it as much.
I will troubleshoot this issue.
So, Alyssa, tell us what films have you covered recently and what films are you about to cover?
We just did Wolf Cop.
Oh, I love Wolf Cop.
I love Wolf Cop too.
It was a lot of
Yes.
fun. Before that, we did Scooby-Doo and the Reluctant Werewolf.
I
Mhm.
saw you post that. I'm excited. I love old Scooby Doo.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's a good one. We're about to do the Monster Squad.
Nice.
I'm
Again,
really excited.
Monsters.
One of
have you
my
watched-
favorite werewolf designs.
Same here.
Yeah.
I've
Alyssa, have
never
you
seen
watched-
it.
Oh my
I've
god.
never
Oh,
seen it. I
man.
haven't
So
watched it
good.
yet.
Do you have a guess for that one?
No, but we're recording in the middle of the afternoon. Oh wait, we do have a guest. We can have
Okay.
two guests
When
if
were-
you want to record in the middle of the afternoon tomorrow.
No, I have other
Yeah.
obligations. That's one of my favorite movies of ever. At Chattanooga Film Festival, they actually did the first night we were there. It wasn't really the festival night, but you could go to this little brewery and we watched that movie with the main child actor. That is literally one of my favorite movies of all time.
Oh, I'm so excited to
Nice.
watch it then.
I think you're really going to enjoy it. It's a lot of people ask us all the time, like what horror movies they can show their kids because we're dads. Now, my child being 20, I'm just like just fucking watch whatever you want to watch. It's amazing. Just don't watch like certain things around me. But
like
it's,
Midsummer.
like Midsummer, which we did. We crossed that fucking bridge. I think at this point, like we can watch anything together. Like let's watch Salo 100 Days of Sodom together. But but that's a really great movie. I think your kids maybe not. I think even, what do you think, Jason? Super little can watch that.
It's one of those things where there's some language.
Is a language. What, maybe 4th, 5th grade? Maybe. What do you think?
Maybe I think they use the F derogatory.
No,
word.
they definitely do. But I think it's a conversation you can have around that. That's okay.
Yeah,
for
so
that
I
kid
would
to understand.
I would say yeah. you have to know your kids and just prep them for some of that. Yeah. I'm actually very free about swear words on my kids as long as they're not derogatory and not used to other person. This is a whole sidebar conversation, but
Jason has no problem with swearwolves.
Swearwolves.
Well, knowing that it's got Levi's favorite werewolf transformation or werewolf makeup design.
Yes.
That's something that we on our show we rank we're ranking them as we go along.
That's so
all
cool.
those special effects. So I'm interested to see where this is going to end up. Right now, number 1 is American Werewolf in London.
That will be number 1.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Levi, what is your shirt?
That is Mothman.
That's so cool.
Oh, that's cool.
I love that. I couldn't quite tell exactly what that.
It's
I
a
also
local
have a
artist
Mothman
here
shirt.
in Fayetteville, Arkansas, named Chad Moppin. He's on Instagram. He's pretty awesome.
Awesome. Are you from Arkansas?
Yeah, born and raised.
Awesome. I go down there every now and again to Hot Springs to do work at Oaklawn.
That's where I was born and raised.
Oh no shit! It's a really cool town. It's a really cool town.
Yeah, it really is. It's got a lot of history. Yeah, it wasn't so cool growing up there, but like once I left and like came back as an adult, it's like, wow, there's really a lot to do here that you can't do as a child. Like the only thing we could do as children was go to the movies every weekend. And
That's
so
my hometown didn't even have a movie theater.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, my hometown had nothing. Go to Walmart and walk around and cause problems.
But my favorite experience of Oaklawn is I got this hotel that actually had a physical key. And not only that, the hotel I go to check in, the hotel manager walks me to my room and opens it for me and gives me a tour of the room. It was awesome, actually. The guy was like super nice. It was like an old school feel to it. And then he tried to murder me in my sleep. That's a whole other story.
Wow.
Do
you remember the name of the hotel?
I can find it for you because it's in my hotels.com. I'll get it for you though. But it's such a little cool hotel, like an old school, just like is beautiful. I had a great time out there, and Oaklawn Casino is a cool casino, by the way. Just anybody wants.
It really is. Yeah, it really is a good time.
All right, Levi, tell us about your podcast.
It's called Well Adjusted Horror. A friend of mine and I started it during the pandemic because we were really the only horror nerds we knew around here, and I mean horror nerds. I've read over like 500 horror short stories that I've logged. I try to watch 2 or 3 horror movies I've never seen before every week. But we used to be twice a month. We're at once a month right now because he has 5 children and things happen. So right now we're only at once a month. Our most recent episode, we did The Haunted Palace with Vincent Price. And then July is Shark Month for us, so we're doing Jaws 4 is our next.
That's awesome. The Haunted Palace is I bought it on iTunes. It's one of the few Vincent Price films I've never watched.
It's so good, man. Like, I love that movie. It's my chicken noodle soup of horror movies. It's so good.
I'll check it out. That age of horror is just like so dear to me because like Vincent Price, like my comfort food sometimes. Like, The Abominable Dr. Phibes is like top 5 horror of all time for me. And I love
Oh wow, that's cool.
All right.
Yeah.
So this week we are talking about Tales from the Crypt, season 7, episode 2, Last Respects, which premiered on April 26, 1996. Unfortunately, Jody's not here to do the plot synopsis. I went to my usual site and to look up a plot synopsis, and I'm just like, this is just going on and on and on. So I put it in a Word doc to see what the word count is. 1,200 words.
Dude, Jason, have you tried using AI to synopsize this?
Oh my god, I should.
Dude, I mean,
I'm down to pause for like a minute if you want to try this real fast.
Okay.
If you guys are okay with this, I want to see this because we're West Coast, so it's only 7:25 here, so I just want to make sure you guys are cool.
Okay, so we're back. I went to Chat GPT. And I typed in, what is the plot to Tales from the Crypt season 7 episode 2? This is what it says. I'm sorry, but as of my knowledge, cut off in September 2021, there were only 6 seasons of the original Tales from the Crypt series, which aired from 1989 to 1996. Therefore, I cannot provide you with a plot of an episode from season 7 as it does not exist. So therefore, even AI thinks that the 7th season of Tales from the Crypt is so bad it refuses to acknowledge its existence.
Oh man, you have to send that to Al. I think Al will get a kick out of that.
Yeah, I'll definitely send that to Al. Okay, so basically this is your run-of-the-mill monkey paw episode. We start off with an elderly couple who are running through some sort of graveyard and they're freaking out about stuff. I'm just gonna try to do a very surface level because I really don't want to get in the weeds on this one. Basically thinking that they're now free of the monkey paw because they wish upon to someone else, but then they realize that in order for that to happen, they have to be dead. So these dogs just come running after them and kill them off. Then we switch to these 3 sisters who are working in a business of kind of a thrift shop of some sort. You guys can correct me.
And oddities. It's a curio shop.
Yeah, that they inherited from their father. And one of them, I guess, traded some goods for said monkey paw.
Real fast, the father is also still in the shop.
Yeah, father's still in the shop in like a glass coffin. It's all kinds of weird.
And my frustration with it is it's a terrible looking like fake corpse. Like, come on.
Yeah.
It looks like a bad ventriloquist dummy.
Yeah, I think it would have been better if they just had a casket in there and they didn't have to show the corpse.
Well, like why is the window fogged up?
All right, let's just get through the synopsis.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry.
Because there's a lot to go through. Okay,
Jason's like, fuck, he's drinking again. He's already frustrated.
I know. Let's see. So they live with one of their husbands and their grandmother, but they don't have anything to do with the plots. Yada yada yada. They read the inscription on the monkey paw, which says, 3 wishes I give and no more to each owner of me. So keep score. Each wish will come true. So take care of what you do. Yada yada yada. One of them wishes for a lot of money. They get a call that they're about to inherit some money. 2 of the sisters go to pick it up. It turns out it's not as much as they're expecting. And then apparently those 2 sisters are driving home and they get into a car accident where the youngest one dies, the oldest one survives, and the middle one comes to her bedside. But then the coroner determines that the youngest sister was actually shot. So the oldest sister killed the youngest sister for the inheritance, which actually equals the original amount of money that they wished for. I'm truncating this a lot for you.
It's fine. This is such a convoluted episode.
This is so needlessly convoluted. Let's see. So once the jig is up, the oldest sister is just going to rob everyone, everything that's valuable in the store. The middle sister grabs the monkey paw and says she wishes to give away her wish to her dead sister. And then suddenly there's a large gust of wind and the doors open, and then stands the youngest sister, who's now a rotting corpse, and she attacks the oldest sister, the one that killed her, and locks them in a room. The older sister has a gun, he shoots the corpse, nothing happens. The middle sister says that her younger sister's last wish was that they could all spend more time together. The end. That's monkey paw business, the episode.
Monkey's paw.
I do want to note that this episode is directed by Freddie Francis, who directed Tales from the Crypt, the movie 72, which also had a monkey's paw episode. So it's kind of coming back to take another whack at it, though I think the one in the movie is much better. We'll get to that. But just a couple notes on him. He directed Day of the Triffids, an excellent movie if you've never seen it.
Yeah.
And he was a cinematographer for movies such as School Ties, Cape Fear, Glory, Return to Oz, another personal favorite, and Dune. So that's my run through of that movie. Alyssa, what did you think of this episode?
I didn't hate it. Like, it wasn't great, but it didn't, I don't know. I feel like it's just another rehashing of Monkey's Paw, which I guess is the point, but it didn't hit as well as I think it could have had they done something a little bit more with these characters. Like, who the heck was Basil? He's there. We don't know what his deal is. And there's not enough establishment of any kind of relationship between these sisters for me to really care about what happens to them. And I know that they're under time constraints. The episodes are all short. But you could have done something to establish more animosity between the older sister and the youngest sister, because it just kind of seemed to come out of nowhere. But at the same time, it was entertaining enough to where I didn't look down at my phone and start playing around. I watched the whole thing. So I felt it was very mid.
All right. Levi.
Yeah, I kind of felt similar. I was sort of in the middle. I hadn't watched a Tales from the Crypt episode in quite some time, so it was really nice to see the old HBO build up intro, and then
that intro is so like just God, it gets me every time. Like
so nostalgic.
I fast forwarded through it because at 40 years old, it might make me cry. So I have to fast
Oh
forward
wow,
through
yeah.
it.
It's powerful stuff. But yeah, so it was nice to reintroduce myself to it. I was admittedly excited when I saw The Monkey's Paw. That's one of my favorite horror short stories. It was like one of the first, like I remember like our teacher read it to us in like elementary school.
Oh wow.
And being like just morbidly curious about it and who wrote it and everything. And I think it was like W.W. Jacobs wrote it, and like it was published in 1902 in the Harper's Monthly, which I guess was a magazine back then. But so I was really excited to see that. The acting sort of subpar, as you know, as far as performance wise. I got excited there because I thought one of the actresses was Frasier's wife from Frasier, but she turned out not to be, and that was a shame. But it's sort of the Cabinet of Curiosities or Cabinet of Curioso store sort of reminded me of a film I love called From Beyond the Grave from 1974.
Yeah,
with Peter Cushing, Donald Pleasance, and David Warner. So I liked that aspect. That set was really neat. I was kind of trying to find little occult stuff hanging out around there. Mostly just saw like a couple of cheap Halloween masks and some like, stuffed crows. But yeah, it was fun. It's not serious at all. Of course, most of these are not. But the makeup was really bad. I'll say that.
Yeah, it was.
And I was shocked by the F-bomb because when I first watched Tales from the Crypt, I was born in 87. My first introduction to Tales from the Crypt was on Fox.
Yeah.
And so
Mine too.
when they drop an F-bomb, like when she says like, you can't, this is what happens when you fuck with history. I was like, wait, what? And then remember this is an HBO show. So yeah, it was all right. It was cool to see an old horror literature nod though. I really liked that. So
does anybody here watch It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia?
yeah.
I used to.
All right, I don't know if the show is edited on FX and unedited on. No, it's not. Sorry, I was watching in a hotel room and they straight just dropped the C word like on cable TV.
Yeah.
And which I don't really care about, but it still like shocked me because again, I'm 40 years old. I'm like saying ass on TV back when I was a kid. Like the FCC'd want a word with you. And I'm like, oh,
right.
We're just dropping "See you next Tuesday" nowadays. Like it's okay.
Oh, Mando, the children don't think damn is a cuss word. I've had to tell them you can't say that, like you can't say that in the classroom.
I still remember when I was like fucking like very young. I was playing Tetris at my friend's house. I was living in Virginia, so I was like probably 6 or 7. And I said crap, and my friend's mom marched me home and told my grandfather I said the word crap.
Well, it's funny because they think they don't.
Super cool about it, but like he's like, yeah, you just don't say that word. I was like, okay.
It's funny because they don't think damn is a cuss word, but if you say shut up or stupid, they're like,
oh yeah, shut up was a big one.
Man,
for sure. Yeah.
Mondo.
Hold on a second. I'm getting there, Jason. This is a really good conversation for some point because I can see why, though, they see those words as being more hurtful. As actually being what could be considered hurtful words as opposed to damn, which is just a descriptor, I guess. So
yeah.
They say "god dang." This guy, Hank Hill, like this "god dang" textbook mistake.
I do because I talk like an old country man.
All right, sorry, Jason. I'll go. Jason's already frustrated, and I'm so happy.
No, it's good. I just gotta keep the train rolling.
Train kept a rolling all right, never mind. But yeah, I actually think this is going to be rougher on you and I, Jason, because watching so many good Tales from the Crypt episodes and then coming to this one, it's obviously a letdown from a lot of stuff we watched, right? As a standalone episode, I think if you'd have watched this with a nice long break from season 6, I don't think it's a terrible episode. I don't think it's a good horror episode either. I think it's kind of a run of the mill. Alyssa used the word mid. I don't know what that means, but it sounds like meh. So
Like mid range.
Mid-range,
Like
okay.
average.
Yeah, that's
Like,
a newer one. I've heard that a couple times.
Is that an insult? If you call someone mid, would you be you're mid?
Kind of. It's like you're boring.
Yeah.
Okay.
Basic.
So,
Is it the new basic? Would you say?
So
Probably.
in jiu-jitsu, there's 5 belts. I'm a purple belt, which I had to work really hard to get, but I'm right in the middle. Would that make me mid?
At jujitsu.
I think
Yeah,
so.
fuck, that's horrible.
No.
Well, I think it's, but it's,
It's
supposed to be more.
contextual.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go
Yeah.
drown myself in the bathtub. This is bullshit. I worked so
No.
hard to get here. Let's check. Okay. Anyhow, I digress. Jason, I said jujitsu, and Jason's like, "Fuck." How long is this gonna take?
Like that.
Um,
Oh boy.
a couple of issues I did have with this. You guys brought up relationships, and right when we start with the episode, right, they're already each other's throats. So I immediately have no like emotional buy-in to really any of these characters because they're all just kind of shitty to each other. And I think if they would have established like siblings fight, right? But they'd established some kind of like emotional relationship, at least being a couple few of them, and they never really did that. So by the end, when you do have the kind of the twist, the monkey paw, I really didn't care because I'm like, you guys all suck. Like
Yeah.
this could have happened. Any character could have been interchangeable, as opposed to like if those two characters, the one that brought the one back from the grave would have had a better relationship, I think it would have had way more impact at the very end. The father in the coffin was just fucking weird. Because I thought it was a cool angle, but just have a closed coffin. Because actually, back if I walk into your store and your dad's in a coffin, I'm probably gonna hang out there because that's just I'm a weird motherfucker. But this is why your business sucks, guys.
I was waiting for that for there to be a callback for that. Like I
payoff or
thought one of them
something,
would wish that father could see us now, and then he would come out of the coffin.
Oh, that's a good point. 'Cause they bring that
Ooh,
up a
that
lot,
would be
right?
so much better.
Yeah.
Right, and like I said, Levi, the makeup at the end completely took me out of it, and I'm a fan of that like clay face kind of dead person feature because Lucio Fulci, who if you guys ever hear me talk, is like the love of my life. I love that he uses that kind of makeup, but his makeup looks grotesque and looks kind of authentic. This just looked like they got a 4th grade class and said, "Hey, does anyone know how to do paper mache?"
Right.
And I know the budget was very, very cheap, but I think sometimes when you don't have a budget, you have to figure out how maybe not to do that. And I think they could have brought that person back almost looking normal because the death was only a few days prior, right? Like,
Right. If that.
And they weren't buried yet. You didn't really need to do that. I think they could have. I think less would have been more in this situation. The story in itself, I thought was actually just like I said, a classic tale of the monkey paw. But I think they almost, knowing they had a small budget, tried to go almost a little bit too ambitious with it. But I think they could have scaled it back a little bit, still told the story, maybe give me a little more, give me something to latch onto with the sisters, and I'd have liked it even more. With all that being said, it wasn't terrible. It was still like like if I would have seen this back when it came out in 1996, I would not have been angry that I spent 25 minutes watching it. And then the wraparound with the Crypt Keeper proves that he is the one person in Hollywood that's not afraid of the IRS. Although I still stand firm that if you guys know the production woes of Blade 3 and how Wesley Snipes refused to like break character, I think he was just trying to scare the IRS too. Which I respect because let's be honest, taxes are theft.
Yeah.
Taxes are bullshit. And you can hear my other podcast. You want to talk about taxes being bullshit, but I don't have a podcast. But
so we've got taxes and jiu-jitsu. What else can we get on the Mando Bingo card?
Yeah, taxes and jiu-jitsu, baby. That's all that fucking matters in life.
All right.
And friends.
I kind of hate this episode.
I love you, Jason.
I love you too. I know. I dropped it. Okay. Well, as much as I love Mando, I kind of hate this episode.
Oh.
I was coming down with a really bad sinus infection. Usually record on Sundays. On Saturday, I was coming down with a sinus infection, but I was like, okay, maybe I'll be able to record tomorrow. Let me watch this episode. And I was like in some sort of like fever dream trying to watch this. and somehow I made it through. But afterwards, I was like, did I really remember this episode right? Like, it doesn't seem to make any sense. It's all foggy. It's just really confusing. So I watched it again yesterday to try to like reacquaint myself. It didn't clear anything up. I had pretty much the exact same reaction after rewatching.
I'd probably dislike it more if I had to watch it twice.
Yeah, well, the first time I wasn't sure
dude.
if I didn't like what my opinion was, because I was like, maybe I was sick, I was on some medicine. I watched it again. I'm like, no, it wasn't the medicine. It was just a shitty episode. Yeah, it's a relatively short episode, like 26 minutes, but somehow there's too much in it, which I don't know how that math works.
It feels like it was a screenplay almost written to be a movie, and they condensed it down to try to fit Tales from the Crypt. Like,
They didn't take out the things that you need to take out, like that couple in the very beginning that are like running around the cemetery. You don't need that. You didn't need the mother. She doesn't figure in anything. We don't need the husband. He doesn't do anything. And I love monkey paw stories. I'm a sucker for monkey paw stories. I'm in for that. And this is probably one of the worst monkey paw stories I've ever seen. I can't think of a worse one. There's even the one in the Tales Crypt, the movie, it was way better than this. It's the same director.
Yeah.
So I don't know how you make a worse version of it 20 years later.
Again, I think you just trying to fit too much into too little, and that's like you're right. I didn't even think about it at the beginning. I actually kind of liked the beginning, but you could have kicked that out and again given it a little and fleshed out the story a little bit better. I think it would have been. You're right. That's a waste of time.
Cut out all those things, and also just wasn't enough monkey paw in it. Like there needs to be a few ironies to build up the monkey paw before you get to like the biggest one at the ending. The father thing was weird. I was really hoping that would just like could come out zombified or something at the end. That never happened. Yeah, the sister thing, the relationship was just. I didn't even realize there were three of them until like the third one just kind of pops up out of nowhere in that scene. It was just kind of a mess. And this is the kind of thing that I've been dreading for this season. The first episode of season 7, I kind of liked Fatal Caper. It was a good enough episode, but this is kind of, I feel the bottom is falling out a little bit. So just to run down the characters a little bit. The oldest sister is played by Emma Sams. She was in many episodes, like hundreds of episodes of General Hospital and Dynasty at like the same time. Kerry Fox, who played the middle sister, she's in a lot of, again, British TV, which I don't really recognize in some of the movies, but she was in a movie called Intruders, which is a horror film from 2011. And then Julie Cox, who played the youngest sister, she was in the Dune miniseries directed by John Harrison, who did a couple Tales episodes. And she was also in the Never Ending Story 3. If you didn't know, there were 2 sequels to that movie.
No.
Yeah, that I need to revisit the first Never Ending Story. I'm gonna watch that with my kids.
It's one of those movies that I think
traumatize them.
I was gonna say I'm trying to remember if it's traumatizing or not.
It's very traumatizing.
Is that the one with the horse in the
Yes.
Okay, never mind.
Is it the one with the horse?
There's like a lot of like I get this and like Kroll and some Dark Crystal. I get them all kind of mixed up in my head.
Jason's gonna do a triple feature with Never Ending Story, Old Yeller, and Land Before Time. Like
Where the Red Fern Grows.
Yes.
Completely destroy them.
Yes.
I showed a few years ago, it was like the last day of school, we showed our students the Bridge to Terabithia and made them all cry.
Dude, our teacher legit, I can't remember if it was kindergarten and first grade, because in small town Virginia I had the same teacher for both. They straight showed us Old Yeller. Like you had a bunch of fucking kids crying.
Oh my God.
And the teacher crying. I'm like, why did you show us this?
Yeah, we read Where the Red Fern Grows when we were kids and like wept, just wept.
This is completely off topic, but Alyssa, have you ever heard Patton Oswalt's joke about the Wolfman?
No.
I'm going to talk to you about it later because I think you'll
Okay. I'm ready. I love Patton Oswalt.
To our listeners who've never heard the joke, look up Patton Oswalt Wolfman. It's my favorite joke of his ever.
I was thinking about and all of these movies have emotional ties, unlike this episode of Tales from the Crypt, which had no emotional ties.
Right.
But that's what I like about the original Monkey's Paw story is like you get all of that grief and stuff from the family who wants to bring back their son, right?
Yeah.
So like you get all of that emotion in that build up, and then this is just like
Well,
a chaos.
Tales from the Crypt, yeah, Tales from the Crypt needs to have like campy comedy or like something really biting, and it just doesn't have it either. It just kind of falls on its face.
You're making me hate this episode more.
I know. Feel the
God
hate.
damn.
Let the hate flow
the
through
horror
you.
of the horror of the monkey's paw is how the curse or how the wish backfires.
Yeah.
But like,
Yeah.
since there wasn't any established emotional connection between these sisters, like none of us cared. We didn't
Yeah,
care
because
that this
she
younger
killed her own sister. It
died.
wasn't the monkey paw that did it. She did it to
Yeah.
herself. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's just kind of like, yeah, it cuts out the monkey paw actually from that whole equation. Okay, but let's talk about the episode, the comic that this is based on. So this is from Tales from the Crypt number 23, April 1951. And get ready because there's no fucking monkey paw in that comic.
Wait, did they call
Oh.
it monkey paw though?
I'm sorry?
Did they call it monkey paw at all?
In the comic?
Yeah.
No, there's no wishes.
Okay, no, that's cool.
It's
I'm like, if they
purely-
named it monkey paw, then didn't that'd be even weirder.
No, it's pure. There's no wishes or anything. They used it purely for the title. However, it is a fantastic comic. So let me tell you about it. Okay, so it starts with a man who's distraught, wandering through a graveyard, calling for Anna. He's looking for her mausoleum. He finally finds it and walks in and drapes himself over her grave and starts crying and sobbing. And then we get a flashback to him taking this woman named Anna to a carnival, and turns out he is the chauffeur of Anna's uncle. And they got married in secret. But they will not tell the uncle, who's very wealthy. One, because he would not approve him, and also because, quote, Anna's underage.
Oh no,
Yeah.
not romantic.
So
There it is.
yep. So so basically he lives in the garage. He drives the car for the uncle. Him and the uncle's underage niece are somehow got married, but they're also underage at the same time. I don't know how that worked back then. Anyways,
Apparently awkward, apparently not okay. But
yeah. So basically Anna has to walk from the garage to the house in the rain. So she doesn't get caught. So she just says she was out for a walk. The uncle still catches her though, and puts together that she is having a relationship with the chauffeur, and says that he's going to annul their marriage because again she was underage. But Anna the next morning contracts pneumonia, is on her deathbed, and passes away. So the man kills the uncle after the funeral, which he's not allowed to attend, and wants to go to Anna's grave to confess the murder to her. However, he gets locked inside the crypt and basically is banging on the door, and he's locked in there for a month. They don't find his body for a whole month.
Oh man.
When they finally find him, they deduce that he was able to survive by drinking water from the rain, and that's caught in urns. But then they realize that there are bones scattered all around him. Therefore, they realize that he was surviving by, again, drinking rainwater and eating the bones from the dead body of his underage child bride.
Cool. I mean,
And-
gross, but cool.
It is kind of gross and cool and just kind of fucked up in general. And then they finally say that his cause of death was from the formaldehyde
Oh
in
wow,
her body.
Ah.
that's morbid.
Yeah, that's a really
would've been-
morbid. You're kind of like,
That
fuck
would
this
have
guy
been a
too.
way cooler
Yeah.
episode.
Yeah, that would have been a way better
Way
episode
better.
than what we got. I don't even know if HBO could pull that off, because that's like, yeah, visually,
Yeah.
that's kind of intense.
There's been a lot more.
They could have just
production,
not made her. They could have just been
involved.
like, let's not do the underage thing, and then just
Yeah.
have them be married in secret, and have her be an appropriate age, and then that would have been fine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but then you also need a reason to root for the guy to die. But
That's true.
yeah,
Yeah,
Uh,
those-
it's good.
Sorry, those older comics always set up the character to where you're like, all right, let's see this bastard die. You know, it's
Yep.
it's good enough.
So
He's
yeah,
a
it's actually
creep.
yeah. If you can find it online or even better in print, I highly recommend it. It's actually a really good comic.
Cool.
Oh,
Yeah, I love the EC comic stuff. I have like Tales of Terror and
Mhm.
Creepy Magazine. I don't know if you've heard of those. The
Yep.
old EC Tales of Terror are awesome. Yeah.
And it looks like we lost Mando. I'm not sure where he went off to.
He said he was getting a work call to keep recording.
Okay. So that's our comic comparison.
I wonder how they got from that to that. Like,
my guess is, again, knowing a lot about the behind the scenes production, is that they were looking for people in England because they just moved the show to England. They're looking for people that they did not have access to in America to come do the show. They're like, well, the guy who did the Tales Script, the movie, is probably is living in England. He'd be willing to do one. Now the show's there. They're like, okay, well, let's get that guy. Why not? Who wouldn't want to see that? And for some reason, he decided he wanted to do a Monkey's Paw episode, but because he'd already done one for the movie, they had to use a different name from a different comic. So they just kind of like closed their eyes, pulled something out of the hat, or just thumbed through the old comics, said, okay, here's one that we'll never do, and took the title from there. And just said that the arrangement was they had to use the title of an actual comic, but did not have to have anything to do with the
right.
content. So I think I think they just picked the name rather randomly.
Which is unfortunate because that story is much more compelling.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I can see it.
It could have been so much better.
I can see it maybe costing them more money studio wise. I don't know. Like, I don't know why they would take a good story and be like, yeah, we're not going to use this one. You know.
Again, yeah, I don't know why. Or maybe they thought it was been too much, but like, again, just thinking about a character who is trapped in the crypt with the love of his life, who just recently died. Well, okay, let's forget about the child brides. We're going to make this into an actual episode. But then, like, imagine him slowly going mad, drinking water trapped in like urns, and eating the flesh off her decaying body. That's compelling.
Yeah,
but also like, ooh.
Yeah, it's a little. It's
almost like Poe.
Yeah,
it is very Poe. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's cool. Poe knows foes.
Every year, when I teach figurative language, I use the Raven, and then I show my students the Treehouse of Horror episode.
Cool. Oh yeah.
I do that before we read the poem just to get them interested, so they see that I have it pulled up, and they're like, "We're gonna watch The Simpsons."
Yeah.
I'll use that as a moment to promote our Treehouse of Horror series we have on our Patreon at the $3 and above. Me and some fantastic guests such as Zorn from Dead Meat and Caitlin Grant from Plug It Up have done some really fun reviews, so we'll make sure you check those out.
Yes.
Whoop, whoop.
Let's move on to our episode rating. Mando can give his rating when he gets back. But our system is 0 to 5, 5 being the best, 0 being the worst. You can do half points. Levi, what do you rate this episode? Again, you're doing it on your own. Like, again, I've been watching this series for so long, so I'm going to rate differently than you are. So don't worry about that baggage. Just do whatever feels best for you.
You know, hearing you guys talk about it, some of the worst stuff is sticking out to me, but I still don't want to give it like lower than half. So I want to give it 2.5 out of 5. Okay. Just because I did think it was fun and it had a monkey's paw in it, you know. So,
all right, Alyssa.
I'm giving it a solid 2.
All right. Yeah. Sorry, I'm going with a 1. That's like, I think that might be like the lowest ranking I've given episode.
I was gonna ask.
I have to look. But, yeah, I really don't like this episode, and I hate hating on someone else's work, but. On the critical point, it's just not good. Like, it's not atrocious, but it's just not good.
I've talked about this on my podcast before, how there's a difference between saying like I don't like this from a consumer standpoint and like demeaning someone's efforts and work. So like we didn't like it. It didn't work for us, but it doesn't mean that they didn't work any less hard to make it. As
my kids say when I try to get them to eat a vegetable, this is not for me. All right, Mando, what do you rate this episode?
2. I don't think it was horrible. Like, I don't think it was as bad as you make it out to be, but that's okay. Like, I get it. But I don't think you're wrong also. Like, all your criticisms are very valid. But Again, like I think if you look at it through the lens of Tales from the Crypt, it makes it really tough to pick out a lot that's great about this. But as an episode of, you know, anthology based TV, I think it wasn't the worst thing I've ever seen in my life.
Now, I will say, if somebody wants to sell me the prop that is the monkey's paw, I'd buy that. That's pretty cool.
That was a cool looking monkey's paw.
So
Oh, yeah.
I'll give it that
you want
one
that
point
weight
for
on
the
your head,
production of the
brother.
monkey paw.
You
All
need
right.
like a quarter staff with the monkey's paw at the end.
That's cool. That's
Was it
yeah.
Stephanie from Evil Dead Rise?
Stephanie. I just watched that I watched that yesterday for the first time.
Oh, so good.
Oh, cool.
I liked it a lot.
Yeah.
I liked it a lot too.
Me too.
Haters
I had
be
fun.
damned.
I made everybody in the room laugh because I was watching it with my best friend and her partner and her 10-year-old. And
Her 10-year-old.
oh yeah, he watches horror movies with
Nice.
us. The only thing that she doesn't allow is like sexual content. So we check everything first. So
You're not
this
showing
one
them
was fine.
You're not showing them Hellraiser.
Not yet.
No.
I did have to when we took him to see Barbarian in theaters, and I had to make him turn away for part of it. I was like, "Don't look, don't look, don't look, don't look." Okay, you're good.
Blindfold.
But I made everybody laugh because she picks up. It was the part where she picked up the shotgun, and I went like very quietly to myself, but they could hear me. I was like, "Come get some," and then she said, "Come get some," and I was like,
Oh yeah.
yeah.
I love that. I love that.
Nice. All right. And now a word from Uncle Al. And we're back. All right, Mando, give us your song of the day.
All right, I'm gonna pick I have two songs, but for good reason though. Because one that I picked way before when I first watched the episode because I just liked the song, and two because when we were talking about, it, I was like, oh shit, there's 3 witches in this song, or in this movie, and this song fits. But I like to highlight newer music that's coming out sometime. I don't usually do this, but I'm trying to highlight more like modern music you guys can get your hands on. As opposed to like I picked stuff that I listened to when I was like 16 and had to send away to Europe to get my hands on. But there's a indigenous black metal band called Black Braid that came out with an EP like I don't know, like 6 months to a year ago, and their full length record just dropped today. I've only listened to the first 4 tracks on it, but it was enough to make me go and spend way too much money on the goddamn vinyl. I'm really digging it. It's super for you metal connoisseurs out there. It's super like early to mid 90s like Swedish black metal with the really discordant atmospheric riffing, and I'm really digging it. And it's just called 2. Name of their first album is called 2. Actually, it might be their second album. The first one might be a full length. I don't remember, to be honest with you. But I would definitely recommend picking this up. And the song I'm going to pick off it is called "The Wolf That Guides the Hunters." The Wolf That Guides the Hunter's Hand. It's the second track, and that's kind of the one that hooked me right away. I'm like, all right, cool. I'm going to give this album a really good shot because I'll be honest, the EP was just or whatever came out before just sounded kind of generic to me and didn't really grasp me. This song really did grasp me to where I'm really digging it. So definitely check it out. I think it's a good record. And the second song I picked is by a band that came out around 2007, 2008 called The Sword. And I may have picked The Sword before, but The Sword was basically when they came out. It was one of the few songs I ever heard on Headbangers Ball. Because Headbangers Ball, to be honest, is just generic fucking metal most of the time. It's like, what is radio friendly that we can play that's not really pushing the envelope at all? But The Sword basically sounded like a bunch of guys that got stoned a lot, listened to a lot of Black Sabbath. And the first record, Age of Winter, sounded like a straight Black Sabbath tribute record. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's fucking great. I love that album. And the second album was called I forgot the name of it. I have it right here in front of me though. Warp Riders. Which kind of the Warp Riders kind of felt like you were listening to the audio version of the movie Heavy Metal,
which also had a soundtrack.
Yes, but again though, it had a soundtrack. But this would be like if they took the movie Heavy Metal and wrote a record just about heavy metal.
Right.
Yeah, fucking step back, Jason. It's my segment. But one of my favorite songs on the whole album is Trace Bruja's 3 Witches, which is about meeting 3 witches. Because the album is a concept record, and I highly recommend it. The first album is probably my favorite because that's, as we tend to do, like the first thing we hear from an artist, sometimes we latch on to and fall in love with. But I think Warp Riders is probably the better album, and it's a really fun concept record. And if you like that, like 70s style kind of doom metal, and the term doom metal is very loosely used, like people will look at a band like Sleep and be like, oh, Sleep is great because they wrote a 75-minute song called Dope Smoker that no one can fucking stay awake for because it's not that good. And that's the kind of doom metal I don't like, because I'm like, dude, like, unless you are stoned as fuck, you just fall asleep and forget it anyways. And it's fucking forgetful, I'll be honest. Fucking ask someone to fucking hum you a riff from Dope Smoker and they'll be like, oh, man, well, I like the album. No, it's not that good. I'll be honest. Sleep is fucking overrated. But this is kind of doom metal that I like, where it's memorable riffing, memorable songs that get stuck in your head, which is what Black Sabbath was. And I think they're really cool, like almost spiritual successor of Black Sabbath, who's my favorite band of all time. So I don't say that lightly. They've been on tour with Metallica a few times, Jason. I'm surprised you never saw them, actually. You may have seen them and don't even remember. But definitely check out The Sword and check out all their records. Well, I should say Warp Riders is their third record. I'm sorry. The second record was Gods of the Earth, I think. But Warp Riders is probably my favorite record by them. I definitely recommend checking it out.
I love concept albums.
No, me
Yeah.
too. I love concept records. Like, tell me a fucking story.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's an artist I've talked about here many times, King Diamond,
Mhm.
and started with Merciful Fate, but all of his solo records, actually not all of them, but the first one, Fatal Portrait, was a very loose concept records, but the second album was Abigail, 100% concept album. Eventually did Abigail 2, and just a couple years ago did a graphic novel about Abigail, but then did Them and Conspiracy back to back, which are two stories that fit together. And I don't know if you'll like the music, but I think like just read the lyrics and it's a really fucking creative. And I wish someone would make a movie out of his ideas. But he was really big on, like, he was in Merciful Fate, which is just straight kind of like satanic heavy metal, with a very loose like concept to it. But King Diamond was on 100% concept albums about stories that he kind of dreamt up. And he joked that he would dream up these like horrific stories and then edit them to make them suitable for paper, and wrote albums about them. And they're pretty cool.
Cool.
All right, which Sword album were you referencing?
This is Warp Riders.
Warp Riders. Okay, got it.
Warp Riders.
Saved.
You should. I think you'll dig it, Jason. I think it'll be
That sounds
right
like
up
my
your
alley.
alley.
All
I only
right.
really like super old, like 70s and 80s metal.
Give me some bands. Let's name some bands.
I mean the traditionals. I don't venture too far into metal. It's not my typical
Sabbath?
genre. I like Black Sabbath.
Sabbath.
I like Metallica.
I love Metallica.
Well, Metallica's 80s. So I gotta tell you.
Here we go.
I said
Here we
70s
go.
and 80s.
I mean, okay.
You need some Judas Priest, you know.
I dig Judas Priest.
Yeah.
Hey, Alyssa, have you seen is it Heavy Metal Parking Lot?
Oh.
Go on YouTube, and it's like a 12 or like 20-minute home shot video of people outside Judas Priest concert in like 1980 whatever.
That's awesome.
It's magical.
But
My favorite concert parking lots are Jimmy Buffett parking lots.
But I imagine though, like those seem like they'd be cool 10 years ago, but right now I figured there'd be a lot of MAGA flags in the parking lot. I hate to say that.
No, everybody's fucking stoned and having a great time.
Okay,
my dad works concert security.
Oh, I forgot. That's so cool.
And so, and Jimmy Buffett shows are some of his favorite to work because the crowds are always cool. Those and Willie Nelson shows.
Oh,
right,
yeah.
so I have two important questions for you about 70s metal. Do you know Blue Oyster Cult?
Yes.
Fucking love Blue Oyster Cult. God, my favorite bands of all. How about the old 70s band, actually late 60s, early 70s, called Coven?
No.
Oh, I think so. Yeah.
If you haven't, I talked about this actually on Films at First Sight, but Coven was a satanic metal thrash band that came on. That's how I discovered the word Coven, because it came on in the 80s, early 90s, and that's how I got kicked out of my parents' house, was because I was a Satanist. Apparently, I was. They weren't wrong. But my parents were drug addicts, but somehow me like not believing in God was worse than their drug addiction. Anyhow, I need to work through some things. But Coven was this like late 60s, early 70s. They're basically the satanic version of Jefferson Starship. Just like classic. Yeah, and if you like kind of that Jefferson Starship sound, that
I like Jefferson
spacey,
Starship.
Dude, check out Coven. Just I'm gonna send you the album cover.
Okay.
Because like if that came out today on a major label, it'd be controversial, because it's very satanic, but it came out in the late 60s. And the funny part about Black Sabbath is always they got boycotted by all these parental groups. And on their second record, Master Reality, the song After Forever is a song about how you're an idiot if you don't believe in God. Like they were a very actually religious band, as dumb as that sounds. And as a non-religious person, I think it's funny that they were like caught up in the satanic panic when they're definitely not satanic at all. Although I will argue with any human being in the world that the song Black Sabbath is the most evil sounding riff and song ever written, because fucking Iommi is the goddamn god of guitar, and no one can ever change my fucking mind.
Yeah.
There is
right.
I'm a
Let's-
peaceful man, but there were stories years ago about Geezer Butler, the bassist of Black Sabbath, getting in a bar fight in Arizona, and all I would thought was like, man, if I was there, I'm a peaceful man, but I'd have gone to prison or jail because I'd be back to back fucking fighting with Geezer goddamn Butler.
All right, so let's bring it back now. Jordy's not here to do any horror news, so we're gonna go down a little bit to do our Patreon pit, which no one actually responded to, but we are now on Threads, so make sure you follow us, Tales From The Crypt on Threads. And I posted
Okay.
a question.
For the record, no one responded to the question because Jason didn't leave a text box for you.
No, that was on Instagram.
Okay,
I forgot to put the text box.
Wow.
This is on Patreon.
I didn't
did-
answer because I couldn't think of anything.
Yeah, it's kind of a tough question,
I had
but
the email open and I was like sitting there like,
well, we'll see if we
what
can.
would I wish?
We'll workshop something for you, Alyssa. But the question of the week I posted to Threads is: if you had a wish granting monkey paw, what would you ask for and how would it backfire? So you guys can think of some answers for yourself, but these are the ones that we got. Blood Scribe Creations said, I finally get my movie funded, but then the kills are all real.
Oh,
Is that really that bad though? Like,
yes, Mondo.
Yes.
That is
Real
bad.
life murders, real
Murder
Mondo
is bad.
is bad.
I mean, but what if you cast horrible human beings?
well, unknowingly, you're like, this is your creation. You're like, your big
Like,
shot, and then
I'm not
all your
saying
casts.
Alyssa's
murdered.
one of the nicest human beings I know. But I bet if I got a certain assistant principal to come be part of this movie, she wouldn't be that sad about it.
Boo.
Okay. Up
one,
All Night podcast said, I'd be the one that accidentally started my sentence with "I wish," and then would be like, "Wait, nah," and then later say something stupid and have a terrible wish come true.
This reminded me when I was a young man and playing Dungeons and Dragons and Shadowrun, and we had one person in our group that always wanted to make the stupidest jokes. So our dungeon master would just fucking go with it. So the dungeon master would be like, all right, so next thing you know, you open a door and you see a giant, like a penis. He goes, yep, you're being attacked by a giant penis.
Yeah.
All
Kiss
right.
the dragon.
great stuff.
Roll for it.
Our
Who's
friend
getting-
Full Cheese Eye Fetish, our friend Joe from Films at First Sight, said, I would ask for more Blu-rays, and suddenly the room would be full of Ray Romanos all suffering from cyanosis.
Oh my god, that's amazing. That's amazing.
He would say something that great, man.
I imagine a
Joe.
bunch of Ray Romanos like in Blue Man Group garb,
Like-
like trying to reenact. I've met Ray Romano, by the way.
Really?
Really?
And,
Is
just
he
super,
nice?
yes, super fucking nice dude.
He
Yeah.
seems like a nice person.
Yeah, he offered me tickets to his comedy club, and like I didn't have the heart to tell him, like, dude, I work retail, like I don't have time off. But he was a very nice guy, very nice guy.
All right. Well, that's next. Okay. Jody earlier today posted, I wish for more time to rest, that I'd lose my job, my family would leave, so I'd have nothing but time. Wah, wah.
Aw.
Well, that's just fucking sad.
Like that episode of The Twilight Zone.
Yes.
Time enough at last.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no, we broke his glasses. He couldn't read
Yeah.
the book.
All right. Karma Brighert said, I would wish for more synths, but then both my hands would go necro and fall off so I could never twist all those sweet, sweet knobs. And then Crafty Crypt Keepers said, we would ask for more Halloween decorations, and suddenly the movie Tucker and Dale versus Evil would become real life.
Like I could live with that.
Get that.
It depends.
Can I give you my?
Um,
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead. There's one.
have-
It's not showing up, so I'm trying to find it. So go ahead.
Well, I have the right answer.
Okay.
I have the correct answer for all this. My first thought is I'd want the person in this world that I'm the meanest to and hate the most to have all their wishes come true. And that person is me. So it'd be a fucking awesome.
Oh.
Whoa.
It's a good answer, but it also makes me sad.
Yeah, if any of you guys have a good therapist, my email address is.
I do have a great therapist.
Well, I say it in jest, but I also mean like a lot of times we are meanest to ourselves when it comes to our criticism or anything like that. I'm just jumping right now. I'm not really jumping into that dad advice, but in all honesty, like it's just the truth, right? We're all honestly all the time meanest to ourselves. I think if I wish that, I would have all the best things happen to me. But we should all be kinder to ourselves. Like, we're all cool people. Like, isn't it crazy how much shit we talk about ourselves, and like people talk good about us and our brain goes, well, that person must be just lying, right? I'm like, no, man, like it's cool. It's cool. Like, people.
Okay.
My friend Cheryl charges me 10 cents every time I call myself stupid.
Oof.
Alyssa, we need to talk about this. Like, we're stopping the podcast. No, don't actually stop. We're going to talk about this on the air. Alyssa, if I was going to call someone stupid, you'd be like the last person on my goddamn list.
Thanks, Mando.
Next to my dog. Sorry, and my wife.
Dogs could
and my
never.
Daughter. But you're right. Aside from my wife, my child, and my dogs, you're right above them. But
Thank you.
All right.
you're definitely not a stupid person.
Did you find it, Jason?
Yeah, I found them. For some reason, they're not showing up in that feed. I'm giving Threads some leeway here because so far I'm liking it quite a bit, but it's got a couple bugs. But here's two more I found. I wish that my podcast would become successful, but then the fandom would want me to stick to one topic.
Ooh.
I mean, like, I could live with that.
All right. Oh, that was Chat Tsunami. And then we have one more. This is from my favorite, from Halloween is Forever. I would wish to be the richest man in the world, but wind up buying Twitter.
Oh, so good. So good.
Good one.
So good.
Peaches, what would you wish for?
All right. And then
She has
to
everything.
wrap up our episode, we always
Hold on a second.
ask-
You didn't ask Alyssa and Levi yet.
Oh, yes.
Because I still
Or
don't have a
yourself.
fucking
You
answer.
didn't fucking answer
All right,
yet.
Levi,
Either, Jason.
All right.
Levi, hit us.
I would wish for $4 million because you only need like two in the bank. If you put $2 million in the bank, apparently, and let it sit for a year, it will build up enough interest where you'll never have to work another day in your life. So I want double that, but it would come to me in like pennies all at once in my living room. So probably get hurt doing that. So.
Hold on a second. Could you have like that Scrooge McDuck moment though, where you could just die?
Yes.
Yes.
When I was a kid, I wanted to do that so bad, was to swim through money. That looked like the most amazing thing ever.
Like Family Guy's gone way downhill. One of my favorite Family Guy gags is when he actually is dressed like Scrooge McDuck and jumps into the pennies and just mangles his body when he lands because it breaks his neck and like his limbs. Oh my god, that's probably what really happened.
I used to want to swim in the room full of Krabby Patties from SpongeBob SquarePants.
Ooh.
Oh,
You know, you can buy like official Krabby like patties, like gummy versions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to
love
buy
them.
them at the skating rink when I was a child.
Oh, so good.
Jason and I are already parents at this point.
Alyssa, did you come up with one?
No, because I'm terrible at this.
See, my
I can't-
problem is
I can think of all the things I would wish for, but I can't come up with clever ways of how they would
All
backfire.
right, let's do some. Let's do this. Let's do something you'd wish for, and we'll think of a way it would backfire.
I would
Yeah.
wish to be automatically finished with my master's degree.
but then you would not be able to get hired for any jobs.
Ah,
Yeah.
Jason, that's
Sad.
fucking mean, Jason.
I know.
and honestly,
Here's
that's,
what I do.
that's,
Whenever something great
that's also
happens,
probable.
whenever something great happens, I automatically think, what is the absolute worst outcome of this good thing? That's just
You're
how I
right.
normally think.
Damn
Well,
it.
and it's not far from the truth because there are less and less school librarians.
Yeah.
My little
Dang.
sister-in-law just got a job here as a librarian. I'm super proud of her.
Good for her.
That's cool.
That's awesome.
I think you guys would jive because you're like books.
You know,
I mean,
here's a real life monkey paw situation. So I love fried chicken. I'm just a nut for fried chicken, and I'm a big KFC fan.
Let's
Driving
go.
around one day, I know it's questionable, but it's just my thing.
Popeyes.
I also like Popeye. See, I don't really discriminate much, but one day I was driving and I saw all you can eat KFC, and my brain exploded.
Yeah.
It's a thing. I've seen them a couple times since then. Every
I
once in a while.
respect this, but like I immediately understand that I'm not going to feel well at the end of this experience.
Well, and I was like, oh my god, this is going to be the best experience ever. So I go in. You can only order 2 pieces at a time.
Dude,
Oh
okay.
wow.
That is like, hold on a second. That is the mildest fucking monkey paw situation of all time.
For my level of excitement to my level
Dude,
of fuck this.
come on,
That's
dude.
anxiety inducing
That's like-
having
You
to
can
order
still-
that many.
You can still eat 1,000 pieces
You have to
theoretically.
get up and like ask them for each time. The whole point of buffet is just to let the gluttony
Oh,
fly.
Right.
God.
I guess they're trying to control waste.
I'm sure
But,
there's a
like,
million reasons why,
ugh.
but like I was like, come on.
Yeah, but you don't have to face that person with like grease all over you, being like, 2 more, please.
They they have a really cool invention called napkins, and you can wipe the grease off your face.
It's
Yeah,
still-
it doesn't work.
That's-
It doesn't
It's
work.
not that's not a buffet.
Did you ever hear the Red Lobster conundrum?
No.
No.
So back in the 90s, Red Lobster did all you can eat like snow crab legs, and then they released that
I
shit here in
fucking
America,
rule that shit.
and they lost a lot of fucking money.
Yeah,
Not
I remember
realizing
that.
how many snow crab legs Americans could eat in one sitting.
Wow.
a
Yeah.
lot. I could eat a lot of snow crab legs in one
Mhm.
sitting.
Well, I mean, like, all right. First of all, you never know how much meat's going to be on the fucker, right?
Yeah.
And I wonder how much got sent back because people just couldn't get the meat out of it. But
Yeah.
like, I was like,
Stupid.
damn, like that's a
Or-
stupid Red Lobster.
Or how long they made them wait in between orders.
Yeah. Good time to sort of stave up some more room.
All right, Jason, we need a more soul destroying monkey paw. Like, that was not a soul destroying monkey paw situation.
You don't know how much I like fried chicken.
Do you have Kroger's in town
We have
or Smith's? Ours
Yeah.
is Smith Ralph's. Do they make fried chicken there?
Oh yeah.
I bet it's better than KFC.
No.
We have Albertsons
like-
here, and
no,
they make
I
better
like
fucking fried
Albertsons.
chicken than KFC.
I like Albert. I don't think it's better, but I know what you're talking about.
Jason, have you tried the nuggets yet?
No. For as much as I
They're
like it,
great,
I don't go
man.
that often because
Yeah.
I really shouldn't.
Yeah, we only have one in Fayetteville, and I drive through a town called Russellville a lot, and they have, like, I swear to God, the best, cleanest, like, happiest KFC I've ever been to in my life, and I love going to it. And the nuggets are awesome. They really are good.
We've got a combo KFC Long John Silver's in our
Oh.
in
Oh,
my
wow.
town, which just sounds like a recipe for a tummy ache.
There's a movie called Hell and Back, I think it is. It's an animated like claymation movie with a bunch of stars in it. I think it's got like what's his name? Better Call Saul guy.
Oh.
Not Cross, not David Cross, the other guy. God damn, he's one of the best actors in the fucking world. Better Call Saul.
Hold on, I'm looking it up.
Bob.
Bob Odenkirk.
Odenkirk, yeah.
Odenkirk, and I think it's got like Mila Kunis in it, and they go to hell, and they're going to hell. They're going to combo Taco Bell Pizza Hut. I can't remember what they order. They're like, I'll take a crunch wrap. Somebody's like, all we have is pizza. Ha ha! Welcome to hell. Something like that. Well, all those combo stores remind me of that.
Yeah.
Long John Silver's of all places makes a lot of money during like Christian Lent.
Mhm.
Yep.
When people think like you can be a terrible human being, but as long as you fucking eat that fish on Fridays,
Yeah.
good to go to heaven,
Yeah,
baby.
you're going to heaven, buddy.
I will
Yeah.
say the Popeyes flounder fish sandwich was pretty good.
Mm.
I like
Never
it.
had
I like
that.
a good fried
I like
chicken.
their popcorn shrimp.
Yeah, the popcorn shrimp is banging there.
I really
All right.
can't eat carbs anymore, but fried chicken is like my favorite foods. But El
Do
Pollo
you not
Loco.
have a
Oh, good.
gallbladder?
Pollo Loco's good. I like
Oh no,
El
I
Pollo
found out I'm
Loco.
diabetic, so I just try not to eat
Oh,
carbs.
I'm also diabetic. I just
Are you?
That sucks.
yeah, I found
I
out I
shouldn't be
got
drinking
diagnosed
beer,
like 3
buddy.
months. I got diagnosed like 3 months ago.
How's
I'm
it going?
sorry,
How's it
man.
going for you?
I've lost 12 pounds
Good.
Nice.
That's awesome.
because
There you
of
go.
the metformin makes me shit my brains out all the time.
Oh, me too. If you ever
All
want to
right,
talk
let's
about
not.
it,
No, we're not
Hold
going
on a
there.
second, Jason. Jason, fucking stay in your lane, Jason. Stay in your lane, healthy pancreas guy.
Oh no, I'm on the pre metformin track.
Then we need to talk to motherfucker. To be fair, Jason is a motherfucker because he has kids and he is a motherfucker.
I am a motherfucker. Yes.
But well, hold on a second. If you have more than one, so yes. If you have one, you might not be a motherfucker, but if you have two, you're definitely a motherfucker. Anyhow, I digress. But in all honesty, though, if you want to talk about need support, like I just got diagnosed a couple months ago, so I'd love to chat about it. If you
Yeah.
want to talk about it, because
Friendship.
it's mentally taxing. I'll put it that way.
It is.
But
All
we talk
right,
about this shit because we're
let's
fucking.
let's circle the freeway on this episode. Sorry, the runway on this episode.
Yeah, what the fuck is circle the runway? What the fuck, dude? Just
Circle the drain.
Circle the
circle
drain.
drain.
All right, we always end our episode with some dad advice, some mentor advice. Alyssa's been on the show before and shared, so Levi, it's your turn to give us some advice you'd like to leave our audience.
Well, I'm not actually.
On, any topic. Doesn't be dad advice, any topic.
Okay.
You feel like give
I'm
you
a
advice
puppy
on.
dad.
Puppy dad, there we go.
First of all,
I love my dog.
What's your dog's
some
name?
of the best advice I've ever gotten.
Wait,
when it came-
Levi.
Yep.
What's your dog's name?
His name is Edgar Allan Poe Dameron. We call him Poe.
I
Or
love
po' boy.
him.
That's a
Love
great
it.
name.
What kind of dog
Yeah.
is he?
He's a miniature pinscher terrier chihuahua. So he's 12 pounds. He's not yappy though, y'all. Like it's it's amazing. He's kind of perfect. It's not.
I love it. I have a
Yeah.
Chihuahua, like terriers, Weimaraner, some other shit mix.
Yeah.
Is he in the room with you right now?
No, he's not. He's with his mother at the moment. So
Okay. So
I can.
what you're saying?
Maybe
is
I'll
you
grab him here in a second. But
okay. We need a
um,
visual representation of this adorable.
Oh yeah. The best advice I got from
Or
a
Fred.
dog lover was just try to, like, we get so busy with our lives that it's easy to forget that your dog even exists, and just spend like 10 minutes with them every day. Just 10 minutes. Like if it's dragging the toy across the bed or walking them a couple of extra blocks, it just means everything to them. So that's my advice to pet owners. Spend at least 10 minutes a day with your pet.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And here I
Alyssa's
got
over here touching the special spot.
Oh yeah. It's Peach.
Oh, we got it. There we go.
Oh, it's so cute.
Yeah.
This is a great reason to go to our YouTube feed so you can see all the amazing pets on screen right now.
That's right.
My
All right.
dogs
Well,
are
I think
both-
that wraps up another epised.
We're not done yet, Jason. We're not done yet.
Not done yet?
Um,
Okay, go.
Not done yet. Sorry.
My
My
dog
dogs
about his dogs.
Yeah, I'll talk about dogs now.
Oh yeah.
We're gonna talk about dogs, and I want to hear more about Peach. We need some time, Jason. Sorry. Jason just muted himself. He's like, fuck my life. I'm just muting and I'll deal with this bullshit later. I have beer left too. We're gonna pour this beer here and then we're gonna talk. Yeah, I have a 14-year-old dog and a 15-year-old dog, and they're little old ladies. And I often say, like, so I talk about it with on the Films at First Sight podcast. Like when I was younger, like I never understood crying. And again, we're going back to mental health here because mental health is very important in this world. And
Yes.
at least in Levi, you're a little bit younger than us, like by 4 years. You're not that much younger, but we grew up a
Yeah.
lot of times. And Jason can probably relate to this, unless his father actually was a good, like an amazing father. But even like good dads in our time period, you got taught when you're young, especially as a boy, like you don't cry. You don't cry. You get up, you dust yourselves off, you'll walk away from it. I still remember very vividly one of my best friends in the world, Nate, who I went and surprised in Chicago, who doesn't listen to my podcast, by the way, even though I die for this man. We made him
I have
cry
those.
in front of a bunch of metalheads, though, and that was amazing.
Aw.
And he claims he didn't cry. That fucker cried. But when he got sent away to be the foster family, I was sad. So my dad decided to, my stepdad decided to call me the F word because that was what he should have. Thank you, Alyssa. This is why
Yeah.
Alyssa on Father's Day stated, "I am dad now," and Alyssa's right.
I'm dad now.
I am dead now.
I'm everyone. If you need a dad, I'm your dad now. Clean
But
your room,
when you
son.
get older, you realize that crying should be okay. It's a healthy response to anything. And I do joke that, like, there's a video I watch on YouTube, and there's a guy listening to like death metal and goes, "Me on my way to work. Me when I get to work," and he's sobbing. He goes, "And I'm wondering if my dog understands how much I love him." I'm like, that's
Yeah.
literally my fucking life. Like, I'm listening
Yeah.
to satanic black metal on the way to work. I'm like, oh my God, I hope Freya with her hurt paw understands I have to go to work so I can provide
Yeah.
her with things. I hope she knows how much I love her.
Yeah.
They do. They do
They do.
know.
I'm
Mhm.
still gonna cry about it, Alyssa.
I know.
know.
You're dad now. You have to support this.
I do. Cry all you need to, son.
No, yeah, I totally get that. I get to come home for lunch every day, and I always tell him to be brave, and I'll be home in a few hours, and kiss him
Is
on the
it-
forehead,
Is he your
So-
boy? Is his mom the silver medal?
No. Let's see if she can hear. Yes. No.
Oh,
Oh,
see-
yeah, he's my world man.
Awesome.
But he's more obsessed with her than he is with me. That's okay. I totally understand being obsessed with her. So you know.
So you're
Aw.
silver medal, which is still totally cool though. Like my wife
Yeah.
knows to Abby, she's gold medal. To Freya, she's silver medal. She gets it. It's totally fine. It's
Yeah.
Is one of them mid though?
dude, as a purple belt in jujitsu, who could murder you if I really wanted to? Mid is okay.
Mid is okay. It's okay to
It-
be average.
Took me
Yeah.
fucking 7 years of work to get mid. So
Mhm.
fuck, what am I? When I get a brown belt, am I like upper mid? Is that like a thing? Do the kids say
Sure.
upper mid, or is that just
They
like?
don't.
God damn it! Will I be
We're
lit?
like-
I'll be lit, or is that a thing?
Or like,
Lit is a
no
thing.
offense, but like y'all are like midlife, or we're midlife. That's
Oh,
that,
dude,
I mean-
I don't
like-
think
I'm
it's
like
like something
I'm like 9/10 of the way there at this point. If I got a good 5 years left in me, like I'm happy guy. My
I'm
dad
still in,
died.
I'm
like
still in my
34.
20s.
let's go.
I got another month and a half of 20s left.
Oh man.
Let's go.
Hey, 30s is cool, but like I always thought 40s would be great, but I don't want to
Mhm.
talk about this year.
Yeah,
Okay.
it goes downhill very quickly. I'll just say that.
Yeah.
I'm still choking these young motherfuckers
Yeah, you are.
I'm
Don't
starting
say
to
it
have like
that.
recreationally, not sexually.
Yeah.
Recreationally.
yeah.
All right, I think we've reached our point.
Sexually, I'm only choking people my age or above, but recreationally.
Oh, God.
but they're asking for it because they signed the waiver. It's fine.
All right, well, that wraps up
Oh,
another
God.
episode. Alyssa, where can people
It's
find you
jujitsu,
and
it's
Silver
fine.
Screen Podcast? Give us your plugs.
I am Silver Scream is on Twitter at More Werewolves because Silver Scream was taken by somebody who hasn't used their Twitter account in like 7 years. And all
take it
other
on-
iterations. I couldn't get any other way. So it's at More Werewolves. I'm on Twitter at No Hungry Ghosts. And that's usually that's where we post the most. I'm working on getting our Instagram caught up. Our Instagram is Silver Scream Pod.
Get on Threads and claim it while you can.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right,
Whatever.
Levi.
We are on Instagram and Threads at well_adjusted podcast.
Ooh.
We are on Twitter at well_horror. I'm also on Instagram at Levi Horn with an E on the end. I paint and draw monsters a lot too. So if you're interested in that, that's on there as well. So
Nice.
that's where
Awesome.
you can find us.
All right, well, thank you both for coming on. Next
Thank
week,
you.
we will be reviewing Creep Show the movie for our 100th episode. Yes. It'll
That's
be a
cool.
great time. We appreciate everyone for listening. We would really appreciate if you would give us a rating or review on iTunes, a rating on Spotify. Check out our YouTube channel for videos of these podcasts. And with that, we thank you for listening to Dads from the Crypts.
Follow Dads from the Crypt on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, or I will follow you to the grave. No, seriously, you really should watch. But be careful what you ask for. You may get it.